Hello, this is Justin from Autotrading Academy, and in this video we're going to look at the new tick data suite version that's been released by Bert from EAReview.net, and I have to say, really great work that he's done here. This is a major update for tick data suite. He's basically rewritten the whole program from scratch, and it sort of completely changes the whole landscape of doing tick data backtest in MetaTrader 4. Sort of the whole process now is a lot easier, a lot more flexible. You save a lot of time, and you also save a lot of disk space. So really great work, fantastic update, and we'll go and have a look at the bits and bobs in this video. To download the new tick data suite version, simply go to the EAReview.net website and go to the tick data tab over here and go to the download section, and you'll see the version 2 of tick data suite download link available. You can download it and install. Now, tick data suite is constantly being updated. There are new planned features, tons of new features that are planned to be put up in there. So stay tuned for the current updates. Now, once you install the platform, it actually has an automatic update feature. So you will be able to basically update it automatically. It will recognize, if there's any new versions out in there. So once you've got the setup file, downloaded, double click and install the application. Very easy to install. The application, very easy process, and you'll end up basically with one tick data manager shortcut over here, and everything else is actually integrated directly inside MetaTrader. So I'm just going to go ahead and open MetaTrader and the manager. So effectively, if you don't have MT4 installed, then you need to go ahead and install MT4 MetaTrader 4 platform, and you'll see that in the strategy tester module, if you haven't got one opened, if you open the strategy tester module, you'll see you have the use tick data suite option here that you can toggle and turn on and off, and then the related settings to it are all in here in tabs that you can change and so on. So very fascinating stuff, and a major update. Everything is sort of in one place, very easy to use, and the data is basically, the tick data is fed from the tick data manager straight into here when you run the backtest, and it's sort of all done on the fly. So really fascinating stuff. So we'll go ahead and look at that in a minute. So let's first look at the tick data manager. So once you open up the manager, you'll see you've got lots of pairs you can choose from. You've got the direct integration of Dukascopy, free tick data source, the most sort of available and accurate free tick data out there, and TrueFX as well from 2009. So two different sources of tick data. So really good stuff, and I think in the future you'll be adding custom tick data sources for import as well. So all you need to do really to download the data is just click these little arrows over here, and that falls into your task manager, and you can actually toggle the tasks, change their priorities, pause them, unpause them. You can also delete them, and so on. So very easy process, and everything here is written up in the logs, which date and the year and month is being downloaded and so on. So very easy to use, and you can see I've got 5 currency pairs already fully downloaded, and I've got another 2 on the way, so sort of 5.5 there, and it's only taking up 2 GB of disk space. So this is already the compressed format that you download straight away from Dukascopy, and actually what Bert has done, he's added an extra layer of proprietary, basically he's created his own proprietary compression format, and it's sort of like an extra layer that compresses the data even more, and you end up saving an extra up to 15% of disk space. So really great stuff, and you can toggle that if you want to download your data in the new compressed format. Just go to the settings option over here and go to the data settings and just tick or untick this box, and that basically uses the extra data compression layer on top of the already compressed data that you get from Dukascopy. So it is a little bit slower when you do the back testing, but you do save quite a bit of data. And if you open your data folder, you'll see where all of these currency pairs are effectively downloaded for each day and month and so on, and year. Now, what you can also do, if you already have all the tick data imported, maybe you used tick data downloader, So that's SQ tick downloader, Bert scripts, or maybe you've been using JForex. What you can simply do is manually import this data by clicking on the box here and finding the tick data folder where you've been downloading your tick data files from a different application. So that's really great stuff if you don't want to waste time downloading everything over again. And if there are any errors ever when you're downloading or when you're performing a backtest, you actually will be able to do a data repository rescan, and it will sort of re-download and fix your data, which is really great stuff. Because I've had several times where I've downloaded the data and I'm because of some connection error I probably missed out a year or something, and I only noticed it much later on in the backtest. So that's really great stuff. So it prevents a lot of errors. You can always rescan your data and so on. We've got the old remove duplicate ticks option here as well, which basically saves your disk space as well. So if they're duplicate ticks, it just sort of removes them. Got the ability to store volume in the tick data if you wish, although that's not really available in MT4 backtest, so you don't really need it. And you got this nice new addition of price spike filtering. If there are basically 2 ticks in a row and one of them is like 5% above the current price of the last tick, then it will sort of remove it and use the next tick that's back at the normal level. And if you use this option, you can actually change the percentage, 5 or 6% price spike to be used. Now beware, if you use this option, you will need to re-download basically all the data if you want to stop using it. So I'm actually not using this option now, and if I wanted to use it, I would have to click it and click this overwrite function here and re-download all the data, which basically this forces a full refresh of all the data. And you can actually, if you select the dates again, you'll be able to overwrite all the data you have in the repository. So really fascinating stuff. You can import your data if you don't want to download it again. You can use the extra compression layer to save space, and the remove duplicate ticks option. You've got the error scanning option here, which is really great, and a nice new feature of price spike avoidance. Now this price spike filtering option does actually include the franc situation, where there were big spikes, jumps in the franc price not long ago. So those are actually added there as an exception. It doesn't remove them, and they're added there as an exception since those spikes were very real. Now it's also a multi-threading platform, so you can choose the number of threads you want to use with your logical cores. So I've got 8 threads here, and it basically optimizes the efficiency and the speed of your platform. So lightning fast platform, very easy to use. And the great thing I like about this, the biggest sort of plus here, is that all you need to worry about here is just downloading the data. All the GMT offsets and the daylight savings, on all the other configuration settings are actually located inside MetaTrader, and you can toggle them there. So this basically sort of is directly integrated with the source of Dukascopy and TrueFX, and you get the data, and then what it does is it feeds this tick data straight to MetaTrader 4 when you run the backtest, and it bypasses this huge need of CSV files. They were up to 10 or 15 gigabytes for the whole range of 2003 to 2016. It will be around 10 to 15 gigabytes depending on which currency pair. So you're saving huge amounts of data. Just 10 currency pairs, it will be at least 150 gigabytes of data if you were to store the CSV files. And also you bypass the need for the FXT files that you used to generate from the CSV files. So again, you save another huge amount of disk space for each time frame. If I remember, with the CSV files and the FXT files for 10 currency pairs and every single time frame, it used to be around, I think, 800 gigabytes, if I'm correct, just for your hard drive space. So all of that is eliminated, is all gone. So really probably the biggest plus there, that it's no longer data heavy to actually handle this tick data when you're running the backtests in MT4. So this whole landscape and this whole tool chain is gone. It's all basically rebuilt from scratch, and really great stuff, really great work here. It really just saves you so much disk space and time. So let's go ahead and actually launch one of the tick data backtests. And again, you've got still the option, if you want to launch multiple terminal platforms from the same shortcut, you can still do that. And that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. So on one of them, I'll launch quickly a backtest, and whilst it's backtesting, I'll quickly talk you through the settings. So this is FX Open live account, just a micro account, and I'm just going to choose one of my EAs that I've created a couple of years ago, and choose the every tick option. You'll notice if I choose open prices, the tick data suite sort of disappears. So that's all good as well. So I choose every tick. I'm just going to choose the last 10 months, so the backtest is quicker. Daily time frame, and I'm just going to press start. And as you can see, it's generating the tick data history files on the fly. So it's being fed from the tick data repository straight to here, and it's all being done on the fly. So really great stuff. And if you want to actually have a look where this is located, all you need to do is simply go to the file location of Tick Data Manager and go to the Dukascopy, go to Euro Dollar, because that's what I'm backtesting on, and you can see that the folders here are being created for different GMT offsets and settings that you have. So here I launched a backtest before on GMT +2 and US daylight savings, and it created all the history files on the fly that were used for the backtest, and it will keep them there. So obviously the next time if you launch a backtest, it will be much faster because you already got the created history files there straight away. So all of that, if you change the settings, it gets overwritten because it's not read-only anymore. So all of these files basically get overwritten if you change any of the settings. Now I'm using a different setting now in this backtest, and you can see there's nothing here yet because the tick data history files are still being generated. So that's where it's sort of all located in that sense. Very easy to use. And if I go through the settings very quickly, the first thing you sort of need to have your attention in is once you click on the tick data settings, press defaults, and what that will do basically is will recognize the settings that you have in your account. So this time I've got the ECN live server, and obviously the settings in this account, for example the margin, the leverage, the commissions are different than obviously the demo account. So what this does is it sort of recognizes all that stuff and all the settings, and they're all sort of used as defaults when you run your backtest, and obviously you can override all of them here in the advanced section. So I could override my commission if I click this box. I could override my leverage if I click this box. I can override a lot of stuff, the stop level, the tick value, the base currency of the account. I can really override, go very custom if I wish. Now I know this account is FX Open micro account, so I actually already know the commission is $10 per round lot. I could change it if I wanted to. So for example, if you have a $1,000 account with FX Open, the commission is actually $5 per round lot. So I could change this if I wanted to. And you got to remember that actually when you run your backtest, that the commission is always charged in your base currency account. Now this is a euro based account, so if I go to the trade section here, you can see I have euros in the account, and I've made some trades here just as an example. It's one of my test sort of accounts. See the size 0.1 lot basically, and I did this on euro pound, and you can see the commission was $1. So if the commission was $1, that basically means if you bought a lot, it would be $10. Now the only way to have fixed commissions in your backtest effectively is to backtested on that base currency account. So if you have a pound strategy, you should have the account that's based in pounds. If you have a dollar-based strategy like dollar yen, let's say you're testing out, then you should have a dollar-based account. That way you'll always have fixed commissions. Otherwise, if you don't, what's essentially happening is you're always going to have variable commissions, because they have to, your commission has to be converted back to your deposit currency, and essentially that gets times by your exchange rate of your currency. So just bear that in mind. A lot of people think that commission's always fixed. In reality, it's only fixed with most brokers, again, if you're trading that base account currency. So for example, if I had dollars in this account and I'm trading euro dollars, I'm actually going to have variable commissions with FX Open Broker, and those commissions will vary according to the exchange rate of the euro dollar instrument. So that's some knowledge there. If you didn't know about commissions, you can obviously play around with all this stuff as much as you want, and if you want to override any setting, just click on any of the boxes. So now the sort of back test is finished. As you can see in the journal, it took 2 minutes and 27 seconds. You should always have a look at your log if everything is happening, if there aren't any errors, before you look at any results. And you can see in my backtest report I've got 99% modeling quality, all the stats here as usual, and I've got the graph, and you've got 99% modeling over here as well, and that's pretty much it. So backtest done, all good and easy. If I wanted to do it in a different GMT offset, I would simply go back to GMT plus 2 and press US, which is actually what FX Open is, GMT plus 2 and US. And let's say I want to use variable spread, and then simply I'll click start again, and you know, I can run a different backtest again. And now it's actually using the history files that I previously used for the last backtest, which I didn't show you in this video, and you can see it's not generating them again. So obviously this backtest will be finished a little quicker, because it no longer needs to generate the same history files all over again. So really great stuff. The most powerful features here are obviously the GMT offsets, that you're able to just simply toggle what you want. Very powerful variable spread features. You can use a spread multiplier, you can use a spread addition, you can set a minimum spread, and if you don't understand what any of these features mean, you can always hold your mouse over the box or the word here, and it will tell you what's happening and sort of how to use it, and that's pretty much it. Now, most brokers like FX Open, I would say good brokers, usually they actually use GMT plus 2 and US daylight savings. Not all of them, some use European, but one of the reasons we found is that particularly like FX Open and Pepperstone, they use GMT plus 2, and obviously when the daylight setting kicks in, it's GMT plus 3. So they use this setting for one sort of purpose, because it's sort of like the optimal time zone in backtesting, and it's generally for one reason, because the Friday close times are set according to the US daylight savings, and that means that you always have matching Friday close times in your data, which is, you know, very nice and consistent. And also, you know, that daylight savings combined with this offset means that you naturally remove a lot of the weekends from your data. So this is sort of like the optimal time zone basically for trading. You know, at least I think that's why a lot of the brokers use this. So if you use GMT plus 2 with US daylight savings, you'll see that actually the Friday close times when the market shuts will be similar, and also you'll have a lot less weekends in your data, in your data. So that's sort of nice to have in the backtest, you know, consistency sort of testing phase, just to know that. And yeah, you can toggle all these features. Another very powerful feature is the enable slippage option, and once you enable that, you can toggle everything here. You can have slippage for your pending limit orders or your pending stop orders. You can have it for your take profit and stop loss, and you can also have positive and negative slippage, which is basically favorable or unfavorable. So a lot of people don't even know that you can have slippage for your take profit and stop losses. They only think, you know, it's there when you execute the trade, but in reality slippage is everywhere basically, and you can set your chances here of slippage occurring. And if you use this option here of reproducible slippage, that basically means that every time you run a backtest, you'll have the same backtest with the same sort of identical slippage in each one. If you remove this, you'll actually get random slippage that's simulated on top every single time, and you'll get different backtests every time, you know, you run it. So effectively, slippage is sort of like a random phenomena. Depends on so many factors. You know, your latency to your broker, your broker's latency to the liquidity providers, your basically trade lot size. So if you're trading, you know, 10 lots, or if you're trading 5 lots, or if you're trading, you know, a micro lot. So, you know, really a lot of things, you know, can factor in slippage, and you know, it's something that's really hard to model. And you know, Bert has done a really great job here of adding this ability to simulate essentially this trading cost factor, because it is a big trading cost factor if you add it up over a long period of time, and especially for scalping strategies. So a lot of people miss out slippage because they have no idea what it is, and when they have scalping strategies, the slippage and the spread variations usually kill off those strategies. So very useful to have and simulate if you're using scalping strategies that, you know, are very sensitive to trading cost factors such as spread and slippage and commissions and so on. So that's practically it for me in this video. Lots of very advanced stuff everywhere. You can toggle. If you don't understand any of this here, then just don't use it. The main things, as I said, is the GMT offset, the variable spread, and the slippage. That's all you sort of need to think about. You can change your data source here if you wish again, and that's practically it in this video. Really very powerful addition and update, major update to Tick Data Suite. Very easy to use again, all inside the platform. So you know, it's really saving you a lot of time, space, and you know, I have to say it's very flexible than I was expecting this update to be. So really great work, and I hope you guys enjoy this Tick Data Suite version. So go ahead and start testing, and I'll see you soon.